All right. We are down to the final four in the Stanley Cup playoffs. The conference finals are on their way, and the Curfew Boys are back again with a brand new episode. Myself, Sammy, with my cousin Chris.
Hey now.
Hey now. What's up, buddy? How was the you were at a wedding recently? I meant to ask you. How was the wedding?
Oh my God. One of my closer friends, fantastic wedding. It was like the first wedding of I guess if you want to say the close group of friends. So
Okay.
uh, all
Mhm.
around awesome. Like I'm so happy for him and his wife. Uh, Friends had a great time. Everything went smoothly.
Nice.
I just wish I could shout out a few different places, but listen, I don't even know. I just rode on the back of the limo, enjoyed, had a great time, and yeah, beautiful day.
You were a
Fantastic.
groomsman. You were a groomsman, right?
I was a groomsman,
Yeah.
so
Being a groomsman's fun. I've been a groomsman like 2 or 3 times now, and a best man. So they're fantastic. They're always fun.
oh yeah, I got another one coming up in September, so it was
Well,
just a warm up.
it's that time. It's that age group. Late 20s, early 30s. Yeah, my better half. She's gonna start experiencing that too with her close group of friends. So yeah,
I
no,
could
wedding,
hear
wedding.
I could hear the Marissa Tomei foot tapping on the balcony.
My biological clock is ticking. Hilarious. Well, I love that movie. My cousin Vinny is
Oh
fan
man,
freaking tastic.
fantastic.
Oh no, that's
How are
great.
you doing? How are you doing before we go on?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. It's my break off from work. The other day, the girlfriend and I decided to take a little road trip a little bit up north. We went to the Mont Tremblant National Park. So, for those that don't know, obviously Mont Tremblant is quite popular in the province of Quebec. Obviously, the village, the main village, and the ski mountain or the mountain of Tremblant. But next to it, more northeast of it, is the national park within the province of Quebec, and it was absolutely beautiful. Went hiking, got to a viewpoint, beautiful view as always, and we're looking down at the lake and we're seeing like people kayaking, canoeing, and so like we looked at each other, we go, should we hike down and let's rent a kayak for a couple of hours? Hike back down. Probably took us a good hour and a half to and fro from the starting point. Kayaked. It was an awesome day. Had parked the kayak on a little beach. Ate some sandwiches and spent the rest of the day kayaking. Packed up, came back home. Spent a good half of the day there. So it was nice. It was nice to get out of town, to be in nature a little bit. It was a nice sunny day. Not a single cloud in the sky. It's been nice recently. So
So it
warmer.
translates to
Yeah.
us both having a pretty kick-ass weekend, by the sounds of it.
I think we've had a great weekend, all while enjoying some great hockey. That I just love that Batman Cup, by the way, for our
Yeah,
YouTube viewers. Which, by the way, if you like what you see in here, like and subscribe to the Curfew Boys podcast channel. It is free. Tell your friends about us. Share it with your friends. Let's get conversations going here about the Stanley Cup Conference Finals. We're down to 4. And to be quite honest, I did not expect maybe 2 of the 4, probably not even 3 of the 4. I had a feeling, I knew the Florida Panthers would beat the Bruins. I think everybody knew it. I think even Stevie Wonder saw that coming, to be honest with you. I actually thought the Hurricanes were going to beat the Rangers in 7. I thought Vancouver was going to beat the Oilers in 7. And I thought Colorado was going to beat the Dallas Stars in 7. But the only one that got a perfect bracket here was Anthony. So hats off to Anthony. His bracket to the second round is spot on. And the more and more we see this, his Stanley Cup Finals bracket or in prediction might be might be the right one. So let's just remind everybody here what the final scores were. So obviously the Edmonton Oilers beat the Vancouver Canucks in 7. Dallas beat Colorado in 6 games. Florida beat Boston in 6 games, and the New York Rangers beat Carolina in 6 games. I guess let's start in the West. And I think we should start with the most recent series that just ended. Obviously, the Edmonton Oilers ending the Vancouver Canucks in 7. And I got to be honest with you, like, good on the Edmonton Oilers, because I think a lot of pressure's on them, especially out west. The same that for a Canadian team, a lot of pressure's on the Maple Leafs in the East. So good for them. But I feel like they won this series kind of on the skin of their teeth. And I just truly think if they play the same way they did against the Canucks, if they play that way against the Dallas Stars, I don't think they'll stand a chance.
So on that front, if I were to look at that series, 2 things: no Thatcher Demko,
Nope.
and Brock Besser out Game 6 with a devastating blood clot like that.
Game 7. Yeah, Game 7. Yeah. That was a major blow for sure.
Anyone who's played any sort of sport, we're not even close to being professionals. These guys are like brothers. These guys are going to war together every single night, and one of your closest friends potentially goes down with a serious medical injury, and not only for that game only, but for the entirety of the playoffs. Like, the reason why I'm bringing this up is the Vancouver Canucks. I do very much agree with you that I think the Vancouver Canucks were better suited for these playoffs. I think they were a bigger, stronger, and better team, but they really, really, really ran into some bad luck. And like you said, if Edmonton is going to play that way, I will give Vancouver credit. Vancouver did an outstanding job at shutting down and slowing down McDavid. So that was one thing. If the Stars cannot redo what Vancouver did, then who knows? If Ottinger can shut down McDavid and Draisaitl and company and Hyman, I think it's fair to say Zach Hyman at this point, he's plotting God knows how many goals. But yeah, I really feel for the Canucks. I really, really, really do. I don't think they had it easy. They had key injuries, and they still brought it to 7. Like, hats off, really, hats off to the Canucks.
Yeah, with a third string goalie.
Yeah,
and Shelev, like, I feel like Shelev did. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name probably. The first time I heard his name, I thought they said Shelob, like the spider from Lord of the Rings. But anyways, so he basically had to do what Dustin Tokarski had to do for the Canadians when Price went down. And instead of going to, I don't know if it was Peter Budaj that was the backup at that time, or if it was, I'm pretty sure it was him. I think it was him. Anyways, they put in the third goalie who did a pretty decent job. Like, I think Shelev did a pretty decent job against McDavid, Draisaitl, Zach Hyman, Nugent Hopkins. It's just, at the end, like, you could tell Game 7, it was just a bit too much for the Canucks. To me, I think the big factor as to why the Canucks lost, that 4-minute power play they got towards the end of the first, and not a single shot. Not a single shot. And they only
shots on goal.
Two shots on goal
for the whole first period versus like 15.
Dude, so that right there was like, I'm not saying that if they would have had some shots on the power play and didn't score, that they would have won. But it's just, you know that you have a 4-minute power play at the end of the period. The best way to shut the momentum down of the Edmonton Oilers was to score at least one, or at least bombard them with shots, challenge Skinner, because he hasn't been challenged that much in Game 6 and especially in Game 7. So when the Oilers killed off that penalty, they had all the momentum in the world going into the second period. And what do? They score it after they kill it with 18 seconds remaining at the start of the second period. So I kind of feel like the Oilers won the way the Bruins beat the Leafs. Like the Bruins were the better team, but the Bruins weren't that outstanding against the Maple Leafs.
Yeah,
Like if the Oilers really brought it, I think they could have destroyed Vancouver in less than 7 games.
I think so too. And that's Rick Tocchet. Like Rick Tocchet, I think did an outstanding job of coaching that series. And like I said,
Yeah.
they truly shut down the best players. And like I said, my heart does go out to Vancouver. I personally picked Edmonton.
Yeah.
But if I looked at that and I looked at the coaching and how everything was handled and the goaltending and the players stepping up, Nikita
Zadorov on defense.
Zadorov, fuck man, that guy,
He's a
I
beast.
absolutely loved what he brought to a team. I think that guy's going to be getting offers from a whole bunch of different teams come this offseason. I swear to God.
Yeah, possibly. Another thing that killed the Vancouver Canucks was the lack of performance from Elias Pettersson, though. They needed him badly, and like he needed to step up his game, and you kind of saw him really laying the body, having a couple of scoring opportunities in Game 7, but on the overall, like your best players have to be your best players consistently, and if that doesn't happen, you don't have a shot. And at the end of the day, I just think amongst the forward group, the Oilers have a bit more star power than the Vancouver Canucks. But even at that, like Game 6, it was the McDavid-Draisaitl show. And you still felt like, no, the Canucks could have a bit of hope playing at home. Then they get the news about Brock Besser being out. So I think that was mentally deflating. I think you're right on that front when you hear about like, your best goal scorer, your best shooter going down and out. It's gotta have a negative mental effect on the team. So it sucks. It sucks that he had to go down that way. But listen, that's the nature of the beast and the nature of the sport. So you got one more thing to say? Go.
There's one other guy that I think absolutely has to be mentioned. Evan
Elias
Bouchard
Dude,
set the record for the most points all time for a defenseman after 2 rounds.
Unreal. I think. Hold on, I have his stats here. In where is he?
20 points.
So, yeah, but just in this round,
5.
Just in this round,
in 12 games, 20 points.
Yeah, he's got like 11, 12 points just in the second round. And I've always liked Evan Bouchard. I remember watching him at the World Juniors, and he was actually really, really good. I knew he was going to be a really good defenseman. He needed a bit more time to actually find his stride. I think now, like this season, he's really hit his prime. And this might sound a bit far-fetched, but I'm kind of hoping Logan Mailloux can be somewhat like him, with a bit more, with a bit more mean on the defensive side, but still have that same offensive capability like Evan Bouchard. They're both right-handed shots. I always wanted the Canadiens to have a defenseman like Evan Bouchard. So I'm kind of hoping Logan Mailloux can somewhat be like him in a sense.
Speaking like just straight up, I don't think that's a ridiculous hope. I don't think that's a ridiculous aspiration, if you want to call it. I think Logan Mailloux could be exactly that. Is he going to put up 20 points in 12 playoff games? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that he might have a similar style of play, similar style of contribution when he's playing on the regular.
Yeah, that would be awesome. So, look, let's go to the Dallas Colorado series. Yeah, I did not expect that. But in all honesty, like the way Jake Ottinger played, and his matchup was Alexander Georgiev, however you want to pronounce it, and he made some unreal saves when he had to. And I just think there was on the overall, the Dallas Stars had a lot more contribution to all 4 lines compared to the Colorado Avalanche, where it's the typical guys. It's the Nathan McKinnons, Cale Makar, Arturi Lehkonen and Mikko Rantanen a couple of times as well.
Yeah.
They needed more. Then, I mean, Jonathan Drouin came back for the final 2 games, got a point each game, but obviously it wasn't enough. I just think, again, it comes down to the goaltending. Look, man, there's a reason why the Rangers told Georgiev, okay, like, if you think you're going to be a number 1 over Shesterkin, hey, man, there's a door. And that's exactly what happened. Like, and not that Georgiev was terrible. He wasn't, but at the end of the day, you got to make those saves. And my goodness, the Dallas Stars, like Wyatt Johnson is absolutely incredible. Him too, as like a 21-year-old performing the way he is. Like it's got to be a bit exciting for Dallas. I have to say, like I actually personally thought that, and I still do. I still think the winner of the Dallas Colorado series is going to win the Stanley Cup. I still think that.
I think it's a definitive possibility. Like Jake Ottinger, we all know that he was good, like really good, but he's been on another level.
Yeah,
he's been
absolutely
elite. He's been absolutely elite at the right time. Like you said, there are a lot of younger players on Dallas. But I think there's one other thing that has to be mentioned. Oh, 2 other things. Number one, I'm going to start by saying Zook. Zook was, I think, one of the only curvy boys who called Dallas. So good on you, Zook. And then
I think Anthony too.
Anthony too. Oh shit! I
well,
thought Zook was the only guy who had Dallas.
No, Anthony has a Dallas Florida Cup Finals, but
Really?
Anthony had the perfect second round. Anthony's second round predictions were all perfect. He got Dallas, he got Edmonton, he got Florida, and he got New York. He's the only one.
God.
However, Zook has Dallas winning the cup.
Okay, that's fair.
Zook would have been perfect, but he picked Boston over Florida.
Oh man, Zook, poor guy. Yeah. But the second point is, one guy really let that team down. One guy really let the Colorado down, and that might be a whole emotional, much like Brock Besser having blood clots. Valerie Nichushkin, you fucking don't let your team down at that time of the year. Like as much as Vancouver seemed deflated in Game 7, like fuck, the Colorado Avalanche seemed pretty damn deflated in their respective Game 6.
He was their best goal scorer. That's true. Well, not their best goal scorer, was one of their best point getters. That's true. I completely forgot about that. Oh my god. Fuck, dude. Like that really put a fucking. Now that you think about it, that put the final nail in the coffin.
Yeah. Like even McKinnon, they were like McKinnon. You saw it clear as day. The guy wasn't skating the same. He was distracted. Like the impact. Like your teammates, whether they do something good, whether it's something unfortunate, whether it's something bad. You know, it's the time of the year, and we'll go back and say this is why it's one of the hardest championships to win in all of sport, is because so many different things have to click at the right time. I thought, honest to God, I thought the Vancouver Canucks could have possibly healthy beat either Dallas or Colorado. I think there's an argument that needs to be made.
Yeah.
But you have injuries just at the wrong time. And it fucking sucks.
Well, especially now that like he's going to be out of hockey for 6 months and be in the players' assistance program again. Like something he's got demons, man. It's sad to say. It's sad to think about too. But like I hope he figures it out. But goddamn, the wrong time for that shit to go down. Yeah, dude. Oh my god, I can't believe I completely forgot about that.
Unreal. Letting his team down, man.
So now that the Dallas Stars are going to be matched up against the Edmonton Oilers, I'll ask your predictions, but again, I see Dallas taking this in, I want to say six games, or maybe push it to 7. But I just think Jake Ottinger, man, if he plays the way he plays, and I don't think Skinner or Pickard can. I don't know. I can't see. I like Edmonton's top 6, but I find overall Dallas has more depth. Like when Tyler Seguin and Jamie Benn are your third line guys, like ex Montreal Canadiens legend Evgeny Dandanov, he's on the third line with them too. You know what I mean? Like, man, they got depth. They got depth. So I still think the Oilers are top 6 heavy. Rightfully so. Those guys can carry the team, and they kind of have to. It can't always just be on McDavid and Draisaitl. But I just think there's a perfect balance of depth and levels of experience on the Dallas Stars. So
I want to say that, like, I'm rooting for Edmonton by far. But I look at, there are two things. Jake Ottinger would have to shit the bed. That's one.
Yeah.
Pardon the expression.
Yeah.
But number two, I really, the reason why I think Dallas is going to be advancing, and I'm hinting at maybe my cup final prediction. I look at Dallas, and they look like a little bit of a slightly older version of Florida with a lot of experience, and almost like Tampa Bay, they lost multiple times after going very far in the playoffs. They have the right mix of players who have been there, done that, failed, and I think they can easily surprise Edmonton. But again, if McDavid works his magic, does something special alongside Draisaitl, they find a way to beat Ottinger. You just never know.
That's true too. Miro Heiskanen, though, like we talk about Ottinger, rightfully so. Miro Heiskanen is carrying this team on his shoulders too.
Monster
on defense. I think him too. He's top 10 in points during these playoffs. Let me just look right here. I had them right here. Yeah, he's got here we go. He's got 13 points in 13 games. And I think he's basically the leading point getter for the Dallas Stars. So yeah, it's going to come down to Jake Ottinger. Absolutely. I truly believe that. So I'm going with Dallas in 6.
I'll say Dallas in 6 as well. I think it's a great prediction.
Okay, awesome. Looks like there's a freaking windstorm. There's a windstorm.
I saw Katrina go out like she was one of the members of the Night's Watch.
Yeah. Yeah, she's gonna come.
There she comes.
She's coming back in. All right. Sorry about that. We had a bit of a monsoon disaster here, so I had to go outside and help retrieve some stuff on the balcony, so I got soaking wet. So
winter is coming.
Yeah, rainstorm is coming.
Yeah.
So, all right. So that was the West. Let's go to the East. I thought Carolina was going to beat the Rangers.
Yeah.
I just felt with Kuznetsov and Jake Gensel, I really thought, 2 Stanley Cup champions on their roster, bringing that level of experience. I actually thought that they were gonna win it, but Shesterkin, he stole the show.
Yeah, he's just stopping everything. Fuck.
What was it? 2 games? In 2 games, he had over 100 saves because they went into a couple of overtimes, and
the guy's playing out of his fucking mind. But I had such trouble with that series. I'll be honest. Ever since the Canes picked up KK, we haven't won against the Canes in forever. I fucking hate them. They've been playing their bunch of jerks, like they've been playing perfectly to that title. I hate them so much. I thought that they were going to go to the Stanley Cup final. You look at my bracket, I truly thought they were going to go to the Stanley Cup final. But I think looking at this, they're missing something, because there's truly something that is missing with this team because time and time again, like I think they have one of the most well balanced teams in the whole NHL, and they just
Mhm.
get to a certain point and then they fall off. Like
I
they don't
I
have that next year.
I think, and I think Adrian would agree with this. Would agree on this with me. I think they need a better goalie than Freddie Anderson.
Fucking much better.
Yeah,
He's not, you
he's
know,
good. Like he's good on that team, but he's only going to take them so far in the playoffs. Though, if you look
yeah,
at every time, like if only they had a better goalie than Freddie Anderson, I think Carolina could go far. I truly
I
think
agree.
that's who they're missing. But
I
now,
agree.
now they're in a bit of trouble. And there's a question that I want to ask, but I just want to talk about the Rangers a little bit.
Fuck the Rangers too. Honestly, it's so goddamn hard to see a
I
piece of
like them.
shit like Chris Kreider
Fuck.
fucking having success. I'm still so fucking
Yeah.
pissed off at that guy.
Yeah.
I don't
Same.
care
Same.
what anybody says. That piece of shit slid into Price, fucking put his feet together, went right after Price's knee. Price has never been the same. And
Oh, I don't buy that bullshit that Alexei Emelin tripped him. Because if Alexei Emelin would have tripped him, he would have fallen head first instead of feet first. Don't fucking explain to me the laws of physics if you disagree. I'm sorry. I don't give a shit what anybody says. Put aside our feelings for Kreider, like the guy's a performer for the Rangers. Man, is he fucking clutch. We hate seeing it as Habs fans because of his collision with Price, but I have to put my feelings aside for a second. And you watch him play, you also hope that Uri Slafkovsky can be that sort of clutch power forward performer.
yeah, I do. And like I think he will. We'll talk about that maybe in a little bit, but I think Uri can absolutely play that style of game. Very much so. The Rangers all around, like solid defense,
Yeah,
balanced offense. Vincent Trocheck, holy shit, like
man,
really playing
perfect,
out of his mind hockey.
perfect role, perfect role as a second line center, winning those important faceoffs. Man, he deserves a lot of credit. Absolutely, Alexis Lafreniere. Finally, when the Rangers put a first overall pick in a top 6 role, you get what you picked for. And him too, he's coming in clutch at the right time.
Yeah. After how long might I ask? How long did it take him? Was it uncertain for a little while? So fans,
Yeah,
again, just
no,
another lesson.
again,
Just historically speaking, be
exactly,
patient.
exactly. You put it like he was playing third line role ever since he started. Finally, this year, maybe even as of last year, put in a top 6 role. He's scoring the goals. He's putting up the points. He's helping them win.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what it is. There's no Peter Laviolette knows this, and that's I man, they're gonna have their hands full though against Florida. You know what this
Yeah.
matchup is? This is literally the battle of the goaltenders.
Yeah.
This series right here, Sergei Bobrovsky versus Igor Shesterkin. This is going to be a goalie matchup.
Like how good is Russian goaltending right now?
It's better than Canadian goaltending, that's for sure.
This the best. I think it's the best goaltending. You have Shesterkin, you have Bobrovsky, and you have Vasilevsky. Like honestly, they have. I think the United States is going to make a push for goaltending in the next little while. But you're absolutely right. Coming back to the series, you're absolutely right. It's going to be old Russia versus new Russia, battling one another. And look, I hope if we can make the transition, because there's only so many nice words that I want to say about New York or Carolina. And what I would say is that I really, really, really hope for Bobrovsky that
Okay.
the guy has his gun and his badge, and he's definitely on the case. Case to make it to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Classic Jay on right. Get back on the game, Bobrovsky.
Yeah, yeah, he's. Oh man, they're just out. It's out. Let's be honest though. Bobrovsky has been outstanding. I
Mhm.
think. I think even Boston. I don't think they ever gave Florida any sort of a scare.
No.
But I
No,
mean,
not even
Boston
close.
still is Boston. You can't take them lightly. And when they did push and when they did pressure, Bobrovsky was an absolute freaking wall back there. But
Yeah,
I think the most complete team, young, skilled, strong, great goaltending. I think the team to beat right now are the Florida Panthers.
man. I If they physically dominate against New York, I don't see New York winning this.
Yeah, I agree.
But man, this is tough. I'm gonna be predicting this series going to 7. Fuck, this is tough for me to pick a winner. I I man, I don't know, and I'm not gonna go on Anthony's conspiracy theories that shit that's been happening back in 1994 is happening now. Fuck that.
Uh,
How I still think Florida, man, dude, this is tough. I think Florida will exhaust the New York Rangers physically, and maybe that's why I'm gonna say they'll win Game 7.
I think if Truba has a flying elbow experience or something to take out one of their better players, if Shesterkin shuts again, we every single time in the
Mhm.
playoffs, can your goalie shut it down?
Yeah, yeah.
Doesn't matter if it's the best goalie in the history of goaltending. If they are hot at the right moment in time and they play well, Cam Ward, you never know what could happen.
I think Florida's gonna do the same thing though. They've been kind of like out for a little bit. The Rangers as well. I think Florida might lose Game 1 just again like they did with Boston. They're just gonna have to shake off the rust. They'll probably win the rest. Again, I'm still win the rest. I say they will win the series, but in 7, yeah, if Sam Bennett and even Matthew Kachuk, if they push Jacob Trouba around, I think New York's going to be in trouble.
I couldn't look. I couldn't agree more. I think Florida has a few bigger, tougher guys
Mm-hmm.
that can play physical, but if they can shut down, if they have the guys that can slow down a Kreider, they have a guy who can. They have plenty of guys who can slow down and really put a beating on like a younger player like Lafreniere and Mika Zibanejad.
Yeah, Rangers are
And
faster.
they're just
Yeah.
too many. Like even Boston, that was something that was so refreshing about the Florida Boston series. It was one of the first times in all of history of watching hockey where Boston, when they were losing the game, remember that I think it was game 2 when they were really losing and get everything was getting out of hand. They tried to send a message and they got their fucking asses kicked. Like
Mm-hmm.
Florida beat the shit out of them. It was one of the nicest things that I've ever seen. I have to say, like, heartwarming experience. But Florida beat the shit out of the Boston players. Like they got under their skin. They did
Yeah.
everything right to beat them.
Well,
And
especially
even
when
if
Bennett.
New York decides to play like that, like they'll do the same thing. They will
Oof.
beat them down.
Oh, well, when Bennett took out Marsha the way he did, call it how you want it, on purpose or not, punched him in the face. You knew then and there it was like, yeah, no. How is it that David Pasternak is challenging Matthew Kachuk to a fight in order to wake up his team? Good on David Pasternak. Like that guy just gained all my respect towards him, even if he's wearing a Boston Bruins jersey. But to have him drop the gloves in order to wake
Yeah,
your team up or send, man, I think that's again right then and there. It's
that's what I'm
sometimes it
saying.
motivates.
Masterclass.
Yeah,
It's an emotional masterclass by the Florida Panthers. They
yeah.
have the right amount of agitation and like you said, hats off to Pasternak. He has also gained that much more respect for actually standing his ground and sending a message, even though it was for a losing cause. But fuck, man, like
I
Florida has everything it takes, and the only
yeah.
thing, and funny enough, like you're saying, only Dallas kind of scares me. They seem like the older version of Florida who have experienced that, like those losses, and have experienced what it is to go that far in the playoffs and what it's going to take, and so on and so forth. So, anyways,
One last thing I want to say about the Bruins is you can't go far when Pavel Zacha and Charlie Coyle are your top two centermen. They're not Bergeron, they're not Krejci. Like Pavel Zacha, even Charlie Coyle, they're perfect as third line roles. Like it's like asking Christian Dvorak to be your number one or number two centerman.
Yeah,
Like it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work.
yeah, yeah. Agreed. Honestly, just a note too. Like, don't get me wrong. I don't take as much pride shitting on Boston fans as I do Leafs fans. But
Yeah, for
I'll
sure.
say this: it was a privilege. I think the Boston Bruins played a lot better than they were expected to play all year. Like the
Yeah.
Boston Bruins gave their fans a treat. They placed higher in the standings. They won a first round in the playoffs. They're Look, if that team doesn't get blown up very soon, and they don't start looking to trade players like Marchand and others, what the hell? They're gonna be. They have Swayman and McAvoy that they can build around right now, and
Yep.
Pasternak, evidently. Sorry, what the hell? How did I
Yeah.
forget him? But it's the start of a rebuild that has to happen in Boston because they're
Slowly.
not the same team.
They're gonna re-sign Swayman, rightfully so. But yeah, after that, I just don't. I don't know how much longer this team can keep that up. Marchand's not getting any younger. Pasternak's in his prime right now. So is Charlie McAvoy. Swayman too is going to be good for a couple of years now. The rest, I don't know. I don't know what they do with Jake DeBrusk. I don't know. Like again, you can't go on with Charlie Cole and Pavel Zacha as your number one and two. So they're gonna have a lot of decisions to make. Like same thing with Tampa Bay. Same thing with the Carolina Hurricanes. This is going to lead to a major question regarding the Montreal Canadiens. So it's out there that now that Martin Niches, I can't pronounce his name, Martin Niches, RFA, Carolina will not be able to sign him, and they're looking to trade him. This guy is potentially an 80-point player. He's kind of like a lesser Mitch Marner, in my opinion. So my question, Chris, and to anybody listening right now, should the Canadiens trade for Martin Niches?
I think, my God, I'm sorry, fans, in advance for anybody who's listening, but I think I'm going to give a boring answer. You have to, like, get informed on the price. The one thing, like, that I'm hopeful is that if they know that they can't re-sign him, then what the hell? Like, you're not in a place of power to be bargaining and getting a better deal if you're Carolina. So if Carolina has to give him up for less than he's worth, I think he should trade. Like, I think there's reason to go and push for a trade for him. But if you're going to start saying what do you have to give up from the Montreal Canadiens to get a player like that, I'm not so sure that I want to have those discussions. I'm not so sure. If we start playing with the late first round pick that we have to get him, and maybe one of our defensemen that we have too many of, let's talk. I'm all ears. Like, you want to talk about a Jordan Harris and a late first round pick for Martin Necas? I'm going to go with the Pierre Hood pronunciation.
Yeah.
But if that's what it's gonna take, like, yeah, okay, I'm listening. I'm listening. I definitely inquire about that. But if it's gonna start being like a first round pick, a top prospect, get the fuck out. Like, get the fuck out of here. Sorry.
I mean, look, a right winger, 6'2", with speed. He only put up 53 points though this year in 77 games, 9 playoff points in 11 games. But again, he's got speed, he's got potential. Like his highest, he's had 71 points last year in 82 games, 28 goals. He still has that. He's 25 years old. Like he's in prime age right now, just a year older than Suzuki. The problem here is like he's gonna ask for a lot of money. Like his cap hit was $3 million that ended this year. He's an RFA, and it's clear that the Hurricanes are going after Seth Jarvis rather than Martin Niches. Younger, still got speed. Like Seth Jarvis is their top priority this offseason for the Carolina Hurricanes.
Mhm.
the Canadians are not going to offer sheet him because it doesn't make sense. Because if he accepts it, then the Canadians have to give up draft picks. We're not going down that road. We're not pulling another Marc Bergevin offering Sebastian Aho $8 million. There's no way that's going to happen. I can't see that happening.
Yeah.
If the
Well,
Canadians,
do you see any of these prospects going? Would you trade any of these prospects? Reinbacher, Hudson, Roy, Mayu, Fowler, Beck, Farrell, maybe Farrell, Dobish, and Mr. Bogdan
Konyushkov, who was the defenseman,
Konyushkov,
I could see maybe giving up Philip Machar and Winnipeg's first round pick this year for Nichas. That's not the issue. The issue is having to sign him. He's going to ask for over $5 million for sure, easily. easily. He's gonna ask for that. I just don't see the Canadians spending out that money for him when they know they're gonna have to re-sign Slafkovsky. They know they're gonna have to re-sign Gooley. They have to re-sign Arbor Jack guy this year. Maybe bring back Justin Barron. I don't with the contracts of Gallagher, Anderson, there's still Armia contract, still Dvorak contract, still Price's contract, even if he's on LTIR. I don't see the Canadians having the funds to get this guy.
Yeah.
I could see them having assets to trade for him, but I don't see them having the funds for him. And I could be wrong. Maybe Kent Hughes pull some magic, only signs him for $5 million cap hit for the next 3-4 years. At the age of 25 to the age of 29, 30, probably, maybe. And it will be a good signing. I just can't see it just yet.
I agree. Not unload those bad contracts. That's priority number one. I think, you know what, for a discussion to be had at another point in time, but for now, I just don't see it happening. I really don't.
And I'll extend an olive branch for you. What if the Canadians do draft Caden Lidstrom? Eventually, you're gonna have to pay eventually, you're gonna have to pay him too, right? Yeah. As a 5th overall pick, if he's still available.
Yeah.
Like he's gonna be ready for the pros, not this year, not at the 2025-2026 season. He's going pro. Whether it's Laval or the Canadians, if he gets picked, obviously, he's going pro. And in 2 years after that, you're gonna have to sign him. Because for sure, whoever drafts him, let's say it's the Canadians right now, they're gonna sign him to an entry-level deal. It's gonna be a slide. He's gonna go play one more year junior, go dominate, stay healthy, which is the important part. Bring your team to the playoffs, fucking destroy everybody, and then you come play pro.
That's a fair trail. I think that's a realistic trail that the kid could follow to actually make it to the or path that he could be following to get into the NHL. I think that's beyond feasible, and so I also like it's hard. I'm daydreaming of having Lindstrom on our team.
Oh, please.
But going back to the initial question, even if they were to draft somebody like Lindstrom, like I would take a Martin Necas on the team any day of the week. Like that's a huge addition.
Mm-hmm.
And I would absolutely love, especially after everything that happened with KK, I would absolutely love to be able to pick off that guy as though it was nothing. But
you know what would be great? I would probably throw in a Christian Dvorak for the Carolina Hurricanes. Here, you need a centerman.
Any day of the week.
You need a centerman. They're probably going to buy out KK. There's actually rumors that the Carolina Hurricanes are going to buy out Jesperi Kotkaniemi's contract. Hey, give them Christian Dvorak, who's got 1 year left, a guy that could kill penalties. Even if you give him a 4th line role, he could win faceoffs at important parts of the game, or you give him a 3rd line. They're gonna have to battle it out with Jordan Stahl in a sense. Here, hold on a sec. Let me go see what were the line combos. But I mean, Yeah, like it's. I don't know if they bring back Kuznetsov, Sebastian Aho's your number one, Jordan Stahl, it's Jack Drury, maybe I'm not sure. Hey, throw in if my God, if Kent Hughes could pull that off, if Kent Hughes would trade for Martin Niches, and he throws in, give him a Mashar, give him a Christian Dvorak, and throw in that first round pick this year, or maybe it might be a bit too much, but hey. And
If
you
it's
signed
Dvorak in the first round pick, and you keep Mashar any day of the week.
any day of
Any
the
day
week.
of the week.
Would Carolina do that? I'm not. Oh, well, maybe they. I mean, they get that first round pick. They get to. Yeah, maybe. Oh, I don't know. It's tough.
I think Mashar could actually be a genuinely good player. I don't think he. I'm not saying that he's not ever going to be a great player. I just don't see him being absolutely amazing and game changing. But the one thing that I'm scared is that Slavkovsky is so close to him,
Yeah,
and
I know. There's lots of
it's just
personal
like that's
ties
the
in this
one
team.
guy that
I know.
I don't.
There's lots of personal ties in this team. There's fucking Slavkovsky with Mashar, Kent Hughes with Jordan Harris. You know, I mean, there's too many personal ties here. You got to be careful. You can't do business with people you love, right? I'm obviously exaggerating here, but I see Philip Mashar being on a third line with Joshua Roy and Owen Beck.
I would love to see that.
I would
love.
Don't forget Owen Beck and the Saginaw Spirit. Saginaw, is it Saginaw Spirit? And anyway, Saginaw, they're starting the Memorial Cup this coming weekend, so that's gonna be exciting to see as well.
Yeah.
Another great way for Owen Beck to develop, and the second straight year going to the Memorial Cup. So let's see how that pans out. Okay. Speaking of our Montreal Canadiens players, the quarterfinals at the Worlds is beginning on Thursday, May 22nd. How about this to start it off? Canada versus Slovakia. Caden Gooley versus Juraj Slavkovsky. That's going to be great.
Yeah.
That's going to be
Caden Gooley has been playing out of his all of them have been playing fantastic hockey. Like you said before, Slavkovsky's been carrying Slovakia on his back. I find he's been one of their top leaders and point getters and everything all around. He's been really driving the play. Yep. I say point getters too. Don't look strictly speaking at points, but also what's he generating on the ice? How many players is he dragging towards him to open up space and make plays and this and that and the other? So there's that. Caden Gooley has been a monster on defense for Canada. I don't know if he just likes playing with that jersey, but he's been playing outstanding, and he's been playing mean hockey. My God, he's been playing like a mean machine out there. Like seriously, everything that he said he was going to be working on doing, he's doing.
So far, all of our guys were named player of the game. Juraj Slavkovsky, named player of the game. Caden Gooley, named player of the game. Cole Caulfield, earlier today on Tuesday, named player of the game with 2 goals and 2 assists for 4 points.
He got robbed today. He got robbed today. He should have.
I thought he won.
He won the player of the game in the previous game, and today he had 2 goals and 2 assists.
You're right. Yes.
And who was it? Who was it who had 1 goal, 1 assist, ended up getting player of the game? It was some bullshit. They're trying to space it out amongst all the team members. Bullshit.
Okay. What about this guy? What about Oliver Kapanen?
Fuck you.
What about Oliver Kapanen? 6 goals in 6 games. Yeah, 1 game was a hat trick, but still, he was leading the tournament in goals at one point.
Yeah.
I really think the Canadiens are going to sign Oliver Kapanen after this tournament. At least I hope.
I think that's a fair. Guess. I would argue, and if you guys remember, or for those who are listening, I think we made it public, but who are our top 10 players? Who are our top 10 prospects? Kapanen has been on that list all along. He is one of the most unknown, yet performant prospects that we have. Obviously, I'd still say he's probably going to be our bottom 5 to 10 prospects on that top 10 list. But holy shit, yeah, what a player he's turning out to be.
I could see the third line, fourth line roles being shared between Owen Beck and Oliver Kapanen one day.
Absolutely.
A lot's going to depend. A lot's going to depend on what happens with Jake Evans. That we're going to see. But I think Oliver Kapanen is knocking on that door, especially for Jake Evans. I could see him on a fourth line role. I think maybe because for now I see Beck having a bit more of a scoring touch than Kapanen. So maybe that's why I'm putting him on the third line. But back to the centerman real quick. One of our viewers commented that if Caden Lidstrom gets drafted by the Canadiens, they hope he plays center. And if he's on the line with Kirby Dach, put Kirby Dach on the wing with Lidstrom.
Yeah. I think
that'd be great, in my opinion.
Well, I like the idea. I always like the idea of having interchangeable center and wingers.
Yep.
One guy's having a bad night in the face-off circle, whatever it is. Lidstrom is a left-handed forward, Kirby Dach right-handed. Who has the advantage for the face-offs? Honestly, go for it. I would love to see that line.
Oh my God, I hope this happens. But there's rumors too I saw on Twitter that if Lidstrom is going above pick number 5, the Canadiens might try to trade upwards. It's going to be tough, but again, I know we said this last week, but I still think the Canadiens are in a good spot to pick a forward. Like, I don't think Demidov is going to be available. And if Lidstrom gets picked, I still think they go after Tejay Ginla, but I think the Canadiens have their eyes set on Caden Lidstrom, and I think a lot of analysts think that as well.
I think that's a fair assumption, and I don't want to say that everything has fallen into place perfectly, but I think a lot of the teams, there are 4 teams above us. The first pick is clear cut.
Yeah.
I think Demidov is a clear cut team for whoever has. So in reality, there are only 2 other teams that risk that are going to be drafting ahead of us. And I think out of those 3 teams, after
Anaheim and Columbus.
Yeah. Well, between those teams, they need a defenseman. Those teams need a defenseman. So I'm just saying there's a higher probability that Lidstrom is still available.
I just want to end this podcast or this episode, on one thing, but Juraj Slafkovsky in this tournament is a fucking rock star, man. He's unreal. Did you see on Twitter the video of, this was a couple of nights ago or a couple of games ago, but there's a lineup of people walking towards the arena in Slovakia jerseys. If you look at all the names behind those jerseys were Juraj Slafkovsky.
I want to say he made a comment at the end of the year when he was doing the exit interview, and he said,
I know exactly
it's
which
crazy.
comment.
It's crazier in Slovakia, and I was just like,
he goes,
yeah, I don't particularly like that comment, and I was just like,
no, dude,
is he? And then you see that, and you're just like, okay, that's fair. That's a fair statement.
So the comment was, and again, he goes, if you guys think the pressure is a lot on me in Montreal, you should see what it's like back in Slovakia. Like, again, I'm going to repeat this over again. That's why they picked him, because he could handle that at the age of 20. Yeah. He can carry an entire nation on his shoulders and not crumble. I don't care if Juraj Slafkovsky has 0 goals in this tournament. The fact that he's one of their best players at the age of 20, Tomas Tatar is the captain, and Juraj Slafkovsky is the one that's relied upon as one of the top 3 forwards at that age, and is able to, and is making plays that are unreal. Like, he's controlling the pace of the game many times. Like, that's why they picked him. They picked him for that reason. I'm going to say this, Chris, and anybody else listening. This tournament is going to be fantastic for Uri Slafkovsky's development. This tournament is going to be fantastic for Cole Caulfield's development, even if Caulfield is surrounded by guys who are, let's go with quote unquote, better than him. Okay? Let's say Brady Tkachuk, Boldy, Johnny Gaudreau. Okay? I don't think Shane Pinto is better than him, but let's just say they're a well-surrounded team. Okay? This tournament is going to be excellent for Caden Gooley. Okay? And now that we're witnessing what Oliver Kapanen is doing in Finland, another strong team, always strong country, this is why those three went. Last year, they had season-ending injuries, well, especially Cole and Uri Slafkovsky. Gooley was out for quite a bit with an injury. I was worried that the concussion at the end of this season might have, concussions, you never know, right? They fucking sneak up behind you and they could screw you up anytime. Caden Gooley's looked like he hasn't skipped a beat or lost a beat or missed a beat. I really think we're underestimating how important this tournament is in terms of development, and where the three guys, three kids on the Canadiens that are part of the core, this is huge for them. And the further they go, the better it'll be for them. And let's be honest, listen, it's unfortunate that Canada is playing Slovakia in the quarterfinals. One of them has to win. One of them is going to have to move on. Obviously, as Canadians, we're rooting for Canada. But don't get me wrong. If Uri Slafkovsky beats Team Canada, I'm going to be rooting for them. I really think so. I love Cole Caulfield in the U.S. Sweden and Finland, I have a soft spot for those two countries. They have amazing players. Sweden, when you see Hedman and Erik Karlsson paired up together, I fucking love that. On the overall, this is amazing. It's Canadiens fans should not take this with a grain of salt. Take this seriously. This is amazing for these young guys on the Canadiens and their development.
Well, thank you for that. I want to argue that this tournament is more important for a guy like Slafkovsky, and the reason why. Like Caden Gooley, Team Canada, I think Team Canada, Team USA, Russia. I know Russia's not playing, but those are the teams that are expected to win year after year after year after year. And that being said, like Slovakia winning anything is a huge upset usually. Yeah. So, like you said, it's a great experience for all of these young players. But I think the one that has to stand that stands to gain the most again will be Uri Slafkovsky.
Awesome.
And that's why I'll be honest, like there's people are going to say trade it to your country, but seriously, they're for Montreal Canadiens fans. There's a reason. There's reason to want Slovakia to beat Canada at this point in time.
Yeah.
As long as Caden Gooley's not on the ice when Slafkovsky's potting on the goals.
Once Slav scores, or oh my god, yeah. Hopefully, just one last thing I want to say about Team Canada. I love watching Dylan Cousins play the way he is. Kid's a fucking beast, and Buffalo Sabres fans should be excited. If this kid stays healthy, this is another major step in his development. So that's all I got. That's all we got.
Great time to end. I say we call it a show, man.
We call it a show. So on Thursday, May 23rd, quarterfinals of the Worlds. And on Wednesday, May 22nd, conference finals begins. It's going to be exciting. It's an exciting time for hockey fans because you got Stanley Cup quarterfinals. You got the Stanley Cup Conference Finals, excuse me. You got the World's Conference Finals. You have Memorial Cup on the way. It's exciting for hockey fans. It's exciting for Habs fans like us in particular. We're looking forward to watching it. Thank you all for tuning to this new episode of the Curfew Boys. Once again, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is free. Share the love. Help us grow. It'll only make us better. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter. Get conversations going with us if you'd like to. We are also available on Instagram. I said Twitter. I said Facebook. I'm trying to think of anywhere else. If you're listening to audio platforms of these episodes, Apple Podcast, Spotify is the place to go. Chris, thanks again for doing this with me. I know you joined the soccer league during this summer. I'm happy you joined a league and a sport to play this summer. Too bad it's not hockey, but hey, we can't all be perfect, right?
So, hockey's coming. Hockey's coming. Listen, I still got days in the week where I can play hockey, but I don't think it's sad because I don't think I'm getting out to soccer tonight. Depending on where you're at in Montreal, I am looking at like apocalyptic clouds.
Dude, you just got the monsoon that I got.
You can literally see it on the corner of my screen. Like, there you go. That's the edge of the clouds. That's the blackness.
Chris, that's what I got earlier, but it's only gonna last like a couple of minutes, not even. That's okay. What I got earlier. So
okay, so then maybe I'm gonna go have a mud practice. That's what it sounds like.
Enjoy. Thanks for doing this, Chris. Don't slide tackle anyone too hard. We'll be back with more episodes in the near future as these playoffs go on. Until then. Bye now. Good night.